Hi there, welcome back to Riella's Army of Dolls, where I talk all things fashion dolls. Now, last weekend I had the great opportunity to go to the London Fashion Doll Fair, and hopefully you've had a look at that first video I made, and if not, I will put a link down in the info for this video. In my first video, I had a great opportunity to interview all of the artists and vendors to look at the stalls to make some purchases. But as well as that, there were 4 separate artist talks that I was able to watch and get some footage from. Let's have a look at extracts from all 4 of those presentations.
My name's Sterling. In the Blind community, people know me as Splatter Girl. That's how you'll find me on the socials, Facebook, YouTube. I have a TikTok. I'm not active, but I have a TikTok. And also, I have a website, splattergirl.com, so you can see anything like that if you're interested in. And I have been in the hobby since 2013. So in the beginning, I was collecting them, making outfits for them, and then I started customizing. And eventually, this has become my full-time job since 2007. So I love my job. I mean, it's rare that you find something that you really love. So I got to play and work at the same time and pay the rent, which is great. So yeah, that's it. And so I'm gonna tell you about my favorite doll in the whole world. So she's my passion and she's my muse. This is the black doll. So this is actually the original one. She's 52 years old and she still looks young. So that's why we keep on playing. Yeah, it keeps us, young. So this is her, my very just one. I only have one tenor, but I do wish I could collect all of them, but maybe in the future. So the first thing that I want to talk about, let's do a little bit of it's not boring maybe. It's about the history of the black doll. So she was invented in the 1970s by this amazing lady. Her name was Allison Katzman. You will notice that their face actually are different. Takara released a few different molds. That's what we call them. So the face plates, they are, they are different each year. So let me look at my cheat sheet for a bit because there are a lot of molds. So in 2001, the very first mold that they did was a BL. That's a Parco light that we saw earlier. So her face is more modern, more mod, and she has a posable body. And then the next year, they upgraded it. So every year when they released a new mold, they make improvements on it. So the next one, they call it an excellent blind mold. The difference is they improved the eye mechanism because it's the soul of the blind doll, really. So it has to have good eye mechanism. And that's the modification that they did on the second mold. So I think at this time, people have started customizing lights, and Takara and Junko Wong, the designer of these amazing dolls, they're thinking of us artists, and they gave us more to work on, basically. So the faceplate is wider. She has smaller eye sockets from my observation when comparing every mold. And the only thing is the early molds are so difficult to take apart. Like there's so much glue on the skull and the dome, so it's really hard for us to like pry it open. But then the next year, or actually 3 years after, they they upgraded again and released a couple of molds. We have here the fair type, the FBLs. This is my favorite one because I'm not sure if you would notice, she has a smaller face, which actually makes her look more sweet and delicate. So collectors who like childish dolls, they prefer this mold. This mold.
Yes, my daughter is studying she's very cute. Yeah, but I see which direction I'm going in. Enjoy the second. Your first one, how's the thing? Yeah. So I want them.
Hi there.
I always take photos.
Yeah, thank you for speaking.
I always.
So I think I should start tidying up for next lady. Gorgeous.
I have this doll. I love her.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Extra.
I know. I remember when she came out, and there were a lot of people who loved her and a lot of people who hated her. I thought it was a little bit offensive, actually. Reckon she's one of the most beautiful ones they've ever done, and the uniqueness. And you talked about that in your presentation.
So sweet. It was like, oh, my big place.
Are all the ones on the slideshow your customizations?
I'm just so happy.
Fantastic.
They're the crazy ones. I was scared to show them off because I don't want to scare people.
But that's what makes them unique.
Something different, stand out.
Absolutely.
I think it tastes good.
Just to give you some idea, what is my main subject in photography is, I photograph still life and flowers, flower portraiture. So if this is going to work, no, it's not. Yes, it is. And again, when we're talking about, as I said, my main subject, the one which I'm probably a bit more known for as an exhibitor, as a collector as well, these are the things which I photograph for me, essentially. But at some point, well, we know what happens. I was looking for different subjects to photograph. And apart from collecting those, I was also collecting miniatures quite well. So at some point, I kind of thought, well, the miniature still life is essentially the extension of my still life photography. But you can imagine that next step obviously was, well, if I photograph my miniature still life, why didn't I get one of my dolls? And this is where it all started for me. Dolls proved to be absolutely amazing subject, and as you probably know, they've been favorite roles. This one, thanks to them for some reason, yeah, I was hoping to be with my so probably, of course, being all collectors of all sorts, that those they've been inspiring models for artists, for photographers, for years, for centuries actually. But what I want to stress, the fact that, okay, my collection is based on art, bold, jointed dolls, you can still do so much photography-wise with absolutely every single type of doll. It could be, as I said, Barbie, art VGT, Monster High, or any other, small or medium format dolls. So please don't think that that's all about particular type of dolls. All the tips, all the things which I'm going to talk about, they are definitely applicable and they're definitely transferable to, when you decide to have more fun and more serious photography with your own dolls, whatever you photograph. So I am going to start with one of my absolute favorite parts in photography, visual storytelling. That's what I teach in my some other subjects, and quite often when we go for just one off single shot, it could be powerful, it could be wow factor. But personally, I always try to imagine, okay, what the viewer, what the audience is going to think about when they look at a particular picture. So when we go for these things, I think it's really important to think about general mood, general impression. Is there some kind of visual narrative you was going to, put behind the picture? Anyway, somehow I do like that. I do love the fact that sometimes you can tell the story with just a single shot. But that's what I really enjoy doing, telling a story in sort of sequence of images. Again, it doesn't necessarily need to be very direct narrative. When almost like in, I don't know, animation style, there's something happening, you can really figure out the plot. So these are things which are so easily achieved with pretty much any equipment. It's just, you're thinking about what I want to include in my frame and how you want to put them together. Obviously, when you do that, you really want to pay a lot of attention to details. And again, I'm known amongst my friends in being completely, how to put it mildly, pain in the neck. So I absolutely love paying attention to all the details. Things which you can, easily change even with your mobile phone or in with your very basic camera these days, there are quite a few tools where you can change the mood of the picture. So, for example, some of the photographers in the audience, I'm sure, know that when you have this creamy, blurry background, what does it usually mean? It does create a picture which is a bit more, I don't know, melancholic. There's always, something very gentle about it. So doing such a simple thing as controlling your depth of field by going for either small aperture or large aperture, I'm doing all that. Sometimes going for, again, as I said, very sort of melancholic shots, for example, you really need to pay attention to light. The main thing which I always try to impress on people, really visualizing and trying to get what you have in your mind, try to get that into your picture, is, I would say, 50% of your final success. Because there are lots of obviously ways to photograph any subject, dolls included. The door itself, by the way, it was created specifically for this project. I wrote this one, this sculpt. It was blank because that's most of the time what we do with art VGDs. They are sold as blank dolls, and you will need to customize them. But I must say, most people, most other characters, they made this particular sculpt into very showy sort of glamour style girl. I immediately thought, no, that's what she wants to be. Right. Okay. Yes, like that. And I'm going to show you just a couple of things which I always keep with me when I go out. And some of this is obviously useful for the studio as well. And again, well, I call this my home studio. So, for example, for the outdoor, quite often you do need extra light. And those little LED lights are produced by many different manufacturers. I prefer not photo lights. They're very easy. They're very easy to use as well. Small tripod, I usually shoot outdoors. I usually shoot handheld, but obviously a large tripod would be, also convenient and useful. But I do keep a small one for the portfolio just for the sake of mounting the light on. Because unfortunately, we're not octopuses. We cannot hold all the things that we need sometimes. That actually would be so painful. So another thing which I find really useful, all these cardboards with either white or silver or black surface, because we can manipulate the shadows, redirect light exactly where you need it on your doll. Small collapsible backgrounds, again, sorry, not backgrounds, diffusers and reflectors. Again, for the outdoor photography, absolutely brilliant. They cost next to nothing in that size, and they're really handy to use. In the studio, I use quite often the large ones simply because, again, sometimes I need to bounce the light off in a particular corner of my diorama, so sometimes size is obviously more essential. And this little thing called wibbly plum, no idea why, but it's flexible holder, so you can keep either your reflectors or using in the right place. So just a few tools, but if you think about it, if you look at this picture, I'm pretty sure you might actually think that, oh, well, there are at least two sources of light. No, one source of light and diffusers, which are, and reflectors, which are bouncing light back to my image. Right, another example. This one is, as you can see, it's much sort of darker in photography. So I am actually deliberately blocking some light because I want to create those dramatic shadows. As I said, it's not necessarily, oh, the better, the more light, the better. No, it's not the case. Sometimes you want dark and noisy, and well, yeah, it's your idea. Another setup which I absolutely love is shooting against the light. So backlit can really create very soft and well, kind of, I don't know, ethereal mood. And again, fair enough, this one is more realistic doll, but I do have a couple of shots with that kind of lighting with my sort of more fantasy style, still very realistic dolls. And I think backlighting works absolutely brilliant in that kind of situation.
Eyebrows because they're more difficult to achieve symmetry. They will not always be symmetrical. Uh, but I like to start with this process with the eyebrows and with the blush as well. Sometimes people leave the blush at the end of the process, but I like to start with it because I like to know where the position of the blush will be. When I'm doing like a more masculine doll, or even with a female doll, I like the position of the blush like horizontal, like the sun kiss they call it. It's more natural. It's where we natural have our blush in our face. Sometimes I go in the tube looking at people and say, oh, he has the blush here, and how a C forms here. You will see it in her live in the dogs. So in this sample, because people, or we tend to do the blush on the sides, like when we're applying makeup on a person. So, but that's not natural. That started like a way to contour the face because back in the day we didn't use contour. We used the blush to contour and give shape to the face. So in this case, I applied the blush here, and you will see the difference between them two. Oh, it's a bit stubborn. The last one actually, I will say. So now I'm here starting to shape the eyes. Here are more rounded. And also the shape of the lips. Even if it's masculine, I like fuller lips on my dolls. But for this sample, I did the thinner lip, upper lip here. Um, I made a face up on a doll, Amico's doll. It's called Tommy. It's a teenager. So I didn't want to sexualize them, so I did a thin upper lip, like in this case for the example of the masculine face. And when you start doing the blush, I like, as I said before, I like to position the blush, and then you start increasing the amount of blush you want. I usually don't tend to overdo it because I like when the client has the doll in their hands, it looks natural. Um, but it's an option. It's not wrong or right when you're doing a face up. It's what you want to achieve. So in this case, uh, the eyebrows as well. They're more horizontal in this sample, and these are more arched that tend to look more feminine when they're arched. Here is I think is the last one. Well, yeah, here I apply more details in the eyes. I really love like this kind of poppy eyes. I think he look cute. And other thing important when I'm doing a male face that they wanted to look like masculine is like applying the 5 o'clock shadow or the shadow of the bear because immediately looks like masculine, right? And that completely changed the shape of the face. If you see it here, this face looks more rounded, and this looks more thinner. Because with this shadow here, what you're doing is like you're cutting the face in half. So you're reducing the proportion of the face. As I told before, when you have the eyes more separated on the center, it looks more feminine. So in general, this guy looks like he had applied makeup on, and this would look like more natural. Um, I think, yeah, this is the last one.
I got my first Barbie when I was, I think like 6 or something. Basically, I was at my grandma's house, and my grandma's friend brought her daughter, who was the same age as me, and she had twinkling 12 Barbie or something, sparkling 12, twirling something Barbie, something like that. And we were both obsessed with this doll, and we fought over it so much that my grandma like had to take it off us and put it on like this really high shelf, so we couldn't reach. And then my grandma's friend bought me the doll. Next time I saw her, she bought me my own copy, my own version, and that was really sweet. And she sadly, like only a couple of weeks after that, passed away from asbestos poisoning. So it was like a really nice thing to remember her by. But yeah, I'm sure like the thing is, I'm telling these stories, but I'm sure it's like kind of a universal experience that we all have dolls that like remind us of points in our childhood and people from our childhood and stuff like that. And you know, that's how that, you know, the nostalgic element is very strong. But anyway, I also made a video today because like that's kind of something I'm good at. So yeah, how do I do this? I just touch the screen.
Swipe. Yeah.
Swipe. Which way? This way.
Right. The other way around.
Other way.
One. Yeah.
What have I done? You do. I'm scared.
Hello, London Fashion Doll Fair. I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me. I thought I'd film this little video because, you know, making videos is what I do best. I'm just so glad that we have an event like this where we can come together and celebrate our love and our creativity for these incredible fashion dolls. You know, fashion dolls have always been super inspiring to me, whether it be Barbie, the original icon, Bratz, the dolls that put MGA on the map and almost usurped our girl Barbie, my scene, Mattel's response to the Bratz dolls, which actually did have a lot of their own unique qualities. Disney dolls, like this amazing Ariel doll. This was my first ever introduction to The Little Mermaid. I hadn't even seen the film yet when I got this doll, and I love her. Or Monster High, the doll line which taught us not all dolls have to look exactly the same and you can still be freaky and fabulous. Again, thank you so much for inviting me, and I hope everyone enjoys their day at the London Fashion.
That I made the YouTube channel. This was way back in 2016. Because I was talking about my love for dolls and stuff, and I have experience editing video. And she was like, you should make a YouTube channel. And I was like, no, I don't do that. What, me? But I did it, and it's been a really, really slow build, my channel. I was not, like, I feel like I'm nearly at 100,000 subscribers, which is like, in the grand scheme of things, not even that successful, but like, I'm happy with where my YouTube channel's at now. But it's taken a long time to get there. Yeah, it combines a couple different passions for me because I love editing video, I love filming things, I love creating content, and I love making all my own little visuals and stuff, like choosing the typeface and the colors and blah blah blah. So it combined lots of passions for me making a YouTube channel. And what's next? Yes. If you're gonna make your own channel, then definitely make sure you're like bringing something new to the table. Like if you're like, no one's saying this on YouTube yet, no one said this, you're not just like reiterating what other people have said before. You're like, no one's saying this, blah blah blah. When I made my channel, I really felt like the only doll YouTubers there were like American ones. And they would normally be like, nothing against Americans, but they would normally be like incredibly optimistic about even the most rubbish dolls. And I would be like, come now. I mean, you can still in a nice way say this doll is trash and deserves a spin, you know? Credit where credit is due, you know? So I was like, I want to make a YouTube channel so that I can basically chat shit about Barbie when she's doing badly, or you know, whatever. Like, I want to be able to like say my piece. So yeah, if you feel like you're adding to the conversation and you've got something you need to say that no one else is saying, then definitely do it. Like, you know, get out there, and because I'm sure you'll find people that feel the same way. Oh yeah, practice editing. before you get started, and try and make sure you have like some decent kit, you know, if you're going to make a YouTube video, like a nice camera, and like some good editing software and stuff like that. Oh yeah, bring your personality to all of your videos. Bring a bit of your personality to everything you do. I'm sure like there are so many incredibly creative people here today. Like just walking around the room, you can see how much creativity there is. And you all bring like a bit of your personality to what you do. And that's what makes it unique, you know? And that also is what makes people want to come back. It's not necessarily what you're saying or the dolls you're showing, it's because like something about you resonates with the viewer, you know what I mean? And that's what, I've made quite a few videos recently that were like heavily scripted, and afterwards, like when they haven't performed so well, I'm like, I think it's just because I'm not just like relaxing and being myself on camera and trying to like have a chat with the viewer about the dolls I love and stuff like that. Because you know that is one of the main reasons why I started my channel, was because I wanted to have a chat about dolls and like, you know, communicate with others and find like-minded people. Yeah, I mean, that's what's been so great about it. You know, when I was younger, growing up, I felt like such a weirdo, you know, such a freak for wanting to collect dolls, especially as a boy, especially when I aged out of doll collecting. Yeah, I felt like such a weirdo, so like being able to, first of all, I had an Instagram account and then I made a YouTube channel, but being able to find like a community online was so special and so important, and made me feel like I wasn't weird. Because you're not weird for having an interest. It's completely fine. And like, you know, a day like today has been like an extension of that, you know, being able to see everyone in person and talk to people about dolls in person. It's so nice. It's just like a nice equalizer. We have something we all love and we can all communicate about.